There have been many changes in early childhood curriculum over the years. Early childhood education originally began as just childcare, and from there, as more people started doing research and paying attention to the needs of early childhood, and um, then from there, that research started to build, and one from another to another, we get to where we are today. Most early childhood curriculums today try to focus on the development of the child, the needs of the child, and at the same time keeping an eye on what's important for them to know when they start a regular elementary school program. With this being said, there's some variations between the different types of curriculum, although most of them have certain aspects that are sort of the same. For me, in watching the videos and reading about the different ones, I felt like that the Bank Street College video kind of fits the most with my own philosophy. I like the integration of all subjects. I like the real world applications, and I'm real big on the focus on the social emotional development of a child. Reminds me of the old saying, children don't care what you know till they know how much you care. That's the social emotional. In my experience, I've found that when we're able to build relationships with the kids, that then they're more in tune to what we're doing in the classroom. They also feel more willing to take risks and more willing to put forth the effort to try and grow and expand for themselves. With this being said, I liked how it started in the beginning with the body movement, which incorporates, incorporated with the language learning, which helps to connect different parts of the brain. And I do a lot of songs with my younger students, and then we incorporate sometimes the songs that we play have movements with them, and sometimes we make up our own. And I've just found that helps them to learn language at the same time, gets them moving, and they seem to enjoy it more. And anytime that you're excited and enjoying your classroom, you're more apt to learn because your mind is open to the experience of what's going on. Also, I really like how they think about the whole child, the social, emotional, the physical, as well as the intellectual development. So those aspects were really good, really good. At the same time, there's parts of the Reggio Emilia that I really agree with, such as the authentic learning experiences. Teaching at a IB World School that has a PYP curriculum, meaning we do inquiry learning. We don't have textbooks, and so it is about authentic learning experiences, and we provide provocations that allow students to kind of look for things they're interested to learn, and then we come alongside them and support them and at times maybe guide them, but we also allow them to make mistakes, because through those mistakes they start to learn themselves and then redefine what they're really wanting to learn. And the last aspect, it reminds me of when several years ago I taught nonverbal autism, kindergarten through third grade, and the students were very antisocial. We would go out to the playground and everybody would just wander off by themselves, and so I would provide learning provocations. I would set out different things, and as the students moved to a different item, say blocks or something, and they start stacking and making towers, I would come and slide myself into their world and start asking them questions, what are you building? Wow, what colors are these? And at times they might answer, but being nonverbal, at other times they would just smile. And then I would count and try to get them to count along with me. And by so doing, they were learning things that were really important. We could talk about shapes, we could talk about colors, we could talk about numbers, and yet I was not forcing the education upon them, because these particular students, if you try to make them do something, they're not willing to do it. And the last thing I want to share about that, the most exciting experience that I had in that classroom was I had set out some little cars for a brand new provocation, and one of the boys wandered over to the car, and he started just rolling it along the desk, keeping his hand on it, or the table, I mean, just moving it back and forth. And so I walked over and I started, talking with him about it. And so then I said, I tell him, let's roll it, let's roll it. And so then I got a little bit away from him and I rolled it to him, and I said, roll it back, roll it back. And then he rolled it back and we started rolling it back and forth. And next thing you know, one of the other boys wandered over. And so then I'm like, roll it over there and roll it back. And pretty soon, one by one, all of the boys, the class was 5 boys and 1 girl, all of the boys joined us around the circle. And next thing you know, they're rolling the car to each other and laughing and having a great time. And for me, it was an eye-opening experience because it was a social experience for very non-social kids. When I thought about it later, if I would have tried to make those kids gather around that table so we could roll the car back and forth, it wouldn't have happened. Because as I would have tried to make a student come there, mind you, these are nonverbal autistic kids on the lower end of the spectrum, they would have fought me the whole way. But by allowing that experience to be there and then coming alongside them, and then the other boys noticing that it looked fun, they came and joined in one by one by one. And it was probably one of the most unique experiences I've had in my 13 or 14 years as an educator. So those are my thoughts and my philosophies on early childhood education.